This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
I mean, there you go. You see? See the green? See the green?
Yeah.
It's just happening right now. And why? Because you, dude, like, I don't know what it is, bro. I mean, maybe
bring the sunshine, man.
It's 108.1088 is the high. And then we had this retest here down to 103, which was at 10 a.m. And so then now, and we started pumping, and look at that. Look where it's at right now, right here. Look at that, man. It's just crazy. Crazy. It knew you were coming, bro. It knew you were coming. How about that?
Glad I could provide another lift for you.
Well, let's see if we can get a record while we're talking here. That would be impressive. If you could get over 109 while we're doing this, which is a lot of money for it to move, which people don't realize how many millions of dollars it takes to move it that much. But anyways, it is what it is. We'll be hitting new all-time highs very soon here on Bitcoin. Last night, I got to tell you, dude, Marcus Freeman, that guy's a hell of a coach, bro. You got to the national championship game. You ended up 3 scores down, and then you still made it a 1-score game with a quarterback that can't pass.
Yep.
Brother, that's coaching and a half. That dude is a stud, bro. Stud.
He is a beast. He really is great at motivating those kids and getting the most of them, and they just know how to win. They know how to keep themselves in games, grind it out. Like you said, it was 31-7, and looked like it was going to be a runaway. And his team,
I laid the fucking points, and I said, "Oh, great, it's over. I can go off and go watch something else." And then here goes Notre Dame answering right back, and I'm like, "Oh shit, what's going on here, bro?" You know. And I didn't win the game until the field goal.
Yeah, that's when you locked it up. Yep.
That's when any of us that laid the points, we didn't lock it down till the field goal. So we were about to lose that game. You know what I mean? It's like, and we were easily winning that game, you know? And by the way, a Canes fan that has to bet on Notre Dame or Ohio State.
Oh yeah. Not what you want to be doing on a Monday night, but
it got me free Caspa. So it's all right. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. It got me a bunch of free Caspa. So it's all good in the hood. And by the way, I mean, you know, I got more Caspa yesterday, just so you know, just to have some fun with this for you guys out there. Where's it at? Here we go. I got my extra Caspa yesterday, and check it out, Manny. So I loaded up last night, and here's Caspa sitting at almost 7% up today. How about that, Manny?
Look
Is
at
that
you.
a perfect what, huh? There we go.
Good. There you go.
There you go. Caspa's like Win Junior.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just simple, you know. So
just
13 cents. I'm just saying.
That's all it is. All right.
Just saying, it's 13 cents. All right. Let me ask you something about Notre Dame. Not that I really give a shit about Notre Dame, but Marcus Freeman intrigues me. How are they as NIL players? Because I know you got to hit the books there also. So that becomes a little bit more of a hurdle, you know, compared to other schools when you go to Notre Dame or Stanford or whatever, Georgia Tech or whatever. So I get that you actually have to do some, you know, you have to educate yourself there. So it becomes a little harder to get players. But how good are they, or how much money are they spending in NIL? Because with that coach, if you can spend money and find smart football players, brother, you got a chance at Notre Dame to win a national championship. So how are they with NIL? You follow. I have no idea. Totally ignorant here.
Yeah, I mean they don't load up on guys every single year in the portal because I think their recruiting classes are pretty consistent. And like you said, the academic side of it I think is certainly something that's a part of it all for them. But they do a pretty good job identifying guys year in and year out that are sort of plug and play. This year, they've got 5 that they've picked up in the transfer portal. One of them was an all-ACC receiver, Malachi Fields from Virginia. They picked up a safety from Virginia Tech. They picked up a cornerback out of Alabama. So they've got a nice little mix there of guys from other Power Four schools that they'll go out and bring in, but they don't spend nearly as much as other schools do. I think collectively, every one of those guys probably makes some good money, but I don't think they overpay. They don't go out and overpay to bring guys into Notre Dame. And I think Freeman again. Look, I was at the Orange Bowl. They got down to their third string offensive line, and they still won that game. So I think it's just a matter of they know how to identify guys that play in their system, and when they are called upon to play,
Get that guy a quarterback, bro.
Yeah.
Come on, dude. Get
Well,
that guy.
they're hoping the backup can be the guy next season. Who came in and he played in the God, what's his last name again? I forgot what Notre Dame's backup quarterback.
I haven't watched the guy a lot. So is he any good? Is he supposed to be a guy that's got
Steve Angeli? He's okay. I mean, he was one of these top recruits who signed there and has been developed, year over year over year. But they have high expectations for him. He did a good job in the short passing game. He came in right before halftime against Penn State and was like 6 of 7 and drove them right down the field. So I think that he's probably the perfect guy to come in and replace Riley Leonard next year, and for them to have a pretty balanced offense next year.
Yeah, because I mean, to get as far as they got with Riley Leonard, God bless him. He's a tough kid and all that other stuff, but brother, as a passer, he doesn't have it, dude.
No,
it's just not the guy. You know what I'm saying? But
and they made it all the way to the national championship.
I had no problem him going for the field goal on 4th and 9 with that quarterback and that offense. I thought his explanation was just right on target. It's just you second guess him because they missed the field goal, but that was the right move. I don't know about you. Did you question it?
No, because there was still enough minutes in the game to get the ball back, and you had to play defense anyway at that point. So if you turn it from a needing two 2-point conversions,
it's 4th and 9, dude.
Yeah, you're at the 10-yard line. You're too far away to really run a good play there, and you don't have the receivers or the quarterback. Take the field goal. I agree with you. At the time when he kicked it, I know they criticized it a little bit on the broadcast, but there were still 10 minutes left in that game, and you're going to need defense to step up and get stops anyway.
Your offense is not very good, dude. You take those points right there and then you work from there is what you do. Unfortunately, the kicker missed, but everything else was done fundamentally right, I think. But whatever, it is what it is. So talk to me, coaching search. How's it going for the Canes?
Well, I mean, I think they're still looking to finalize what they're going to do at cornerback. They still have another couple position coaches that we need to see what ends up happening there. But I don't think it's going to take very long. Heatherman, I'm sure, has his own set of guys that he wants to bring in and fill out the rest of the staff. But right now, I look, the Canes are in a good position. They got their DC, they got their quarterback. And it's not the end of January. We're not going into February and March wondering what the hell is Mario going to do. So I think they're in a better position now, coming off of year 3, than they were the first couple seasons when it felt like Mario was going through, burning through every interview and pissing people off, and so I think that they'll be fine. I think Jason Taylor is going to be the holdover on staff. You'll have Heatherman probably coaching linebackers. You'll add a defensive line guy. You'll add a couple secondary guys, and go from there. But I think, look, it's a good enough staff. Heatherman is a good enough coordinator with some of the talent that they have on defense coming back to make this a top 25 defense. If his scheme is right, if what he does in terms of player development is right. And I think, there's no excuse for Mario. He's got a good quarterback. They got Beck. They have enough guys on the offensive line and at running back. This should be a good team next year. They just got to go out and prove it.
One of the things that I've tried to explain to Dolphin fans that has hurt the Miami Dolphins, and especially the front office, is that if you continue to make coaching changes, whether it's the head coach or your coordinators, then you also have to then change players because you change schemes, you change styles, players don't fit, and then you're stuck with this contract or that. And so I'm wondering on the college football side, with Heatherman coming in, how much of a difference is there in scheme? How much of a change is it, if there's much of a change? And do you see that as being any kind of a hurdle for Miami in transitioning from one coordinator to another? Because that can also be a little bit of a setback too for coaches.
It's a great question. I honestly don't know the answer to it because I think Mario has already gone out and addressed a lot of the needs that they had in the secondary through the transfer portal. A lot of the guys they have on the defensive line were young guys that they were developing for the last 2 years. So it's a matter of just seeing, what those guys do based on what Heatherman brings in. And so it's sort of a TBA. Like, we need to see in the spring what kind of defenses he come out with. He ran more zone coverage than Guidry did. Guidry played the most man of anybody in the ACC, and I think ideally most defensive coaches want to be able to run man coverage, but you need the horses to do that, right? You need the cornerbacks to do that. And so the belief is that Mario went out and got those guys between Xavier, Lucas, and Poyser and all the other guys that they signed here, Charles from Michigan State. All those guys should be able to come in here and allow them to play a better scheme in from a coverage perspective, and probably a little bit more zone too if you wanted to throw some different looks at a quarterback to throw them off. I think those guys probably know what they're doing. I think a big reason Miami played man is because most of the guys, young guys that they threw out there, didn't know how to play zone. They were looking at the wrong keys and covering the wrong guys and running to the wrong area. So I think that that's TBA. But to answer your question in a roundabout way, I expect improvement because I think there's better personnel, and I think you can do more when you have better personnel.
Okay, all right. Because I mean, that's one thing that I am looking forward to, and seeing what's the difference between the two, and hopefully there's not one of those situations where he's lacking because he has to then adjust to the talent that he has, and he has to do, or he's struggling to adjust to the talent that he has. These are things that you don't want to see, overall. Shit, what was I going to ask you now that I'm? Oh yes, Carson Beck. So what are you hearing, bro? Well, since the agreement, and he's come to town, he's taking pictures, videos on campus, all that other stuff. What are you hearing about the kid?
Well, I mean, I think, look, he's a guy who's won, and I think that matters a whole lot, right, to players, right? You have a track record. He started 25 games in his time at Georgia. Should have gotten him into the playoff 2 years ago, didn't because they lost the SEC championship game. Led them essentially to the SEC title this year. So I think from a respect factor, he's going to get that from his new teammates, right? They're going to look at him and they're going to say, "Hey, this guy's won something," which is something Cam Ward couldn't even really say when he got here, right? He didn't have any conference championships under his belt or anything of that nature. So I think once we sort of see who his go-to receiver is going to be, who he establishes that sort of rapport with, we'll get a better idea of what kind of quarterback Miami really has. I think, one advantage Cam Ward had is he had Xavier Restrepo. He had some guys that had produced a whole lot in their career, Jacoby George. And so he had a much more veteran receiver core. This group is very young. It's basically CJ Daniels, who's coming over from LSU, and a bunch of really talented young guys, including JoJo Trader. So we will see how that chemistry develops. But they're going to start throwing in the summertime. They'll have all summer to throw. I expect come July, August, those guys should be able to look good together and have some chemistry together. But I think initial responses, well-respected guy in the locker room because of the fact that he's won and proven himself in the SEC.
I don't want you to give it all away because obviously that's why we tell you go subscribe to The Athletic. But you had an article there talking about your thoughts on whether the 24 season was a success.
Mm-hmm.
In my eyes, it wasn't, unfortunately, because of all the resources that you have. You've had more resources than any coach in history of the Miami Hurricanes. And when I look at what Deion Sanders inherited and the progress that he's made so far in a shorter amount of time than you, by the way, now, I have to say that this wasn't enough progress this year. The 10 games kind of sounds hollow to me in a way. There weren't enough quality wins, and you didn't end up with a simple bowl game win. And the fact that Cam went out and you looked so inept after that, that's not a good sign for me. That doesn't
Mm-hmm.
make me feel good about 25 overall. So I have to say that the season for me was a disappointment. I have to
Yeah, I
say
mean,
it.
I think that's the way most fans feel because of the way it ended, right? I mean, you started 9-0, you were in the top 5, you had a chance to clinch a playoff spot and couldn't do it. Lost 2 road games that you probably shouldn't have lost, and underachieved in a lot of ways with a guy who could potentially be the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. I mean, that's going to be the forever label thrown on Mario for last season. That said, I do think that it's a very positive sign that they have bounced back from that ending to last season by having another great offseason, getting a quarterback, which was a major concern coming off of that bowl game, getting the defensive backfield addressed, and firing the defensive coordinator who everybody lost all their faith in based on the way that the season ended. So I think he's taken every right step in the offseason so far. Now it's a matter of going out and proving it. And it's fair to doubt him because this was a good enough team to win the league, and they blew their opportunity. They didn't do it. Mario has to own that, and he's got to come back and bounce back from that and actually win because he's got that big contract. He's got a lot of money, as you said, a lot of resources behind him, and
All the
put
resources. All
put
the
up or
resources.
shut up time in year 4, brother.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed in Mario. Really, really disappointed in Mario. And I respect everything that he does. I know he's a fantastic human being, but on game day, I just don't see it, dude. I just don't see it. And let me tell you something. I talked about this with the Dolphins and Mario. I I get for now you're going to get away with it, but if it continues, it's only going to get worse. And this is what I'm talking about. Weaver is now headed for his second interview. If you lose Weaver, McDaniel's not going to be dealing with his 4th defensive coordinator in his 4th season, but there's a difference now. He's going into a hot seat season. So now all of a sudden, you're not going to get the best defensive coordinator out there, the best special teams coach out there. Why? Because people are going to look at you. You're on the hot seat. So the best candidates are going to go to more stable situations. Now, Mario does have a stable situation here. But the problem is if you don't cross that threshold of success over the next year or two, when you start having to fill holes, you're going to have to start reaching for lesser candidates because the better candidates are going to say, yeah, no, I know you can pay me, but they can pay me also. And this is a much more stable situation. Mario, you're already heading into the hot seat years and that kind of stuff. So I think it's very important that Mario starts having success because foundationally it's going to start hurting him if he doesn't.
Yeah, I agree, and that's the way this always works, right? You get into year 3, you get into year 4, you got to start having results to back you up, or people are going to start questioning how long you have left. And the one thing about Mario's deal is it is a 10-year deal that he signed. Miami did invest for the long term, so I think in the next year or two, even if he struggles, he ain't going anywhere.
No,
But
no.
I think the overall point and sentiment of what you mean in terms of recruits and players and people believing in your program and trusting you and trusting that it's headed in the right direction. You take a step back now in year 4, year 5, and you go back to 6 or 7 wins. That's gonna rattle
And
the faith.
that's where year 6 and 7, you're not going to get the same coaches anymore because you are now
Right.
heading into the hot seat years. Because
Right.
those years where they start saying, well, we're on the back end of this deal now and he's not getting it done. We're 5,
Yep.
6 years in. There's no progress. We're still winning 8, 9, 10 games. We're still not winning bowl games. We're not. So that'll be a problem. That's why I'm saying he's got to start because right now for McDaniel in the pros, year 4, he's on a hot seat now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like a lot of people would have gotten fired after this season. And because they gave them all new contracts, that's why they're all coming back. That's the only reason. So we've seen this story before. And now you're in year 4 in the NFL. He's not going to be able to get the best special teams coach or the best defensive coordinator. And so then that puts more pressure on the head coach to be a better head coach all around. Has McDaniel proven that? No.
Not at
So,
all.
this is like that's why I told fans that be careful. This is scary what McDaniel's going into now because it's a hot seat year and you're not going to be able to get the best coaches. And that's
Yeah.
putting him in a different. Mario's not there yet, but I'm just telling you, in the next 2 years, you better straighten this out, because if not, you're going to be in that position in year 6 and 7.
Yeah, and that's fair. That's a fair assessment of it all. I think, again, can't take any steps back, and I think finishing with anything less than 9 or 10 wins next year, with Carson Beck, with a lot of the, with your third year of your offensive coordinator, all the spending that goes on, to make this roster stick around and be a part of this, you're going to start to lose the benefit of the doubt.
They just bought you the best quarterback available.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying, dude? You got to win, bro.
Yep, I agree. And they got good tests early. We'll find out early between Notre Dame and Florida where this team really is. And hey, listen, they win those games, Mario will be looking pretty good. They don't.
Oh, dude, if you start the season beating Notre Dame, that would be phenomenal, because Freeman can coach. So now you're beating a coach. You're not just beating a decent program. You're beating a coach. So I like that. That would make me feel good, because let me tell you, bro, Marcus Freeman has grown on me throughout the season watching him win with that quarterback, because I would have never in a million years put him in the national championship game. I'm sorry. I would have never done it.
As a Dolphins fan, I can say I'm happy that the Bears didn't go after him. I'm kind of happy, because this might mean a chance for the Dolphins to get him in the next couple of years.
Maybe. Yeah. No, but they needed Caleb to get an offensive coach anyway.
Right. Right.
I think the Bears got the right guy now. I don't know if Caleb has it all to be the guy, but there's something there that sometimes just doesn't register at times, that just like there's something a little off with him, I don't know what it is, but it's just, I agree, there. But bro, the talent, my God, the Lord bless that boy. Woo! He is gifted. Wow. He can do some shit that is effortless. Okay. That's how special Caleb Williams is. I mean, bro, he has been blessed. I hope he figures it out. And I hope this guy, Ben Johnson, figures it out. This is the guy he needed. If he can't figure it out with Ben Johnson, then we know it's his problem. You know what I'm saying?
Right. For sure.
It is. All right, man. Follow him on Twitter, Manny_Navarro. And what do you got going on in the Athletic so they can check it out again?
Yeah, I'm going to be doing the winners and losers of the 12-team college football playoff for tomorrow. I'm writing that column up now. I'll be having the winners and losers of the transfer portal as well later in the week. So plenty of off-season content to get you rolling into the off-season and what's next, which is spring football probably at the beginning of March, middle of March.
You fully recovered? You're good?
Almost there, brother. Still got that cough, still got some wheezing, but the fevers, the headaches, all that stuff is gone. So I'm feeling better. I'm back to work this week. I took all of last week off to try to recover from this thing, but feeling better. Thank you for asking.
You got it, my bro. You got it. Always all in your court. All right, my man. We will catch up on Friday. I appreciate you.
Talk to you soon.
You got it. Don't forget, folks, Caneswear 2655 South University Drive in Davie. Use our code BIG010. You will get 10% off anything in the store. And even online, you can get the 10% off, but you can also get free shipping if you order over $99 too. So you don't even have to go to the store. But if you go personally, go say hi to Brett and all the great people out there and Jeff and all. They're amazing, man. They will take care of you at caneswear.com.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.